What's up guys, Matt back again with another video, and today we're going to be ranking every single GxMateria figure released so far. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. Alright guys, so here we are. We are going to be doing every single GxMateria figure so far, as I said in the beginning of the video. Of course, every single GxMateria figure has not been released. We still have upcoming releases. We have Android 18. We have a few other ones that I can't even think of off the top of my head. They're probably here on the list somewhere, maybe a couple, and I haven't added them yet, but there are more releasing later this year, rest assured. But I wanted to do a tier list as I finally have caught up to every single one and have reviewed every single one that has been released so far. But if you do want to see upcoming GxMateria reviews, I will be reviewing them all on the channel and giving them away. So make sure you subscribe, become a member if you want to take part in our monthly giveaways. But without further ado, let's dive into this thing. Unlike some of my regular tier lists, just like in Solid Edge Works, I'm going to rank these in order of their tiers. So S, A, B, C, D. Now, full disclosure, or disclaimer rather, a S tier GxMateria figure is not necessarily the equivalent of an S tier Ichiban Kuji figure. This is just within the vacuum of GxMateria itself, and I will say figures A and S tier are probably ones that I would say, hey, you can buy these at full price and be happy, while things in B are like, maybe wait for a discount. C, it's like, yeah, definitely wait for a discount, and D is like, avoid at all costs. But let's get through this. I don't think these are in order at all, so let's just start from the way that it's listed here. Super Saiyan Gotenks. It has been a while since I've had this guy in my collection. I did like this figure quite a bit. He was pretty cool because of the fact that he had his Super Ghost along with him. So it is on his base, and it had plenty of character. I liked the way that the materia for the Super Ghost was also created, so I thought that was a pretty nice touch for the figure itself. Gotenks, you know, Varuk is the one who sculpts all these figures. He is a talented sculptor. I don't think he has a say in like paint and shading necessarily, but he's really good at making these things come to life. But yep, Gotenks is pretty awesome. He is a little bit on the smaller side compared to some of the other GxMateria figures, but I think he is one of the better ones. I think I'm comfortable putting him in A tier. He's a really great figure, comes with Super Ghosts to attach to his base, and Gotenks himself has plenty of character and personality. It's definitely an A tier. Frieza. So I think this was the very first Frieza GxMateria that they did. This is when he's doing his Death Ball attack. I think right before Goku throws the Spirit Bomb at him. So he doesn't even get to do the full attack. He like turns around and he's like, oh crap. But lots of personality in his face here. This is when I started to notice GxMateria figures were a little bit smaller than normal. Maybe not this one as much. We'll get to that in a second, but this one is still pretty good. The effects around his key ball were pretty unique as well, with the electricity going around the ball itself. Frieza's face, as usual, is magnificent, and there was a lot of attention to detail all across his body, so I think I would put him in A tier. I think I like Gotenks a little bit more, but Frieza is definitely one of the better GxMateria figures within their releases. Now, one of the most fan-favorite characters and villains throughout the entire Dragon Ball franchise is Goku Black. Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, with possibly the most unique materia out of any character that's been released so far, his scythe, his key scythe. Man, this figure's awesome. He has a great size to him. I will say the face leaves a little bit something to be desired. It looks more like it's a paint issue rather than a sculpt issue, but this figure is bigger. It was one of the earlier GxMateria figures released. No shading from what I remember. Actually, I think he might actually have some shading on his face. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section. And again, the materia is super unique, very big. You know, the figure itself takes up a ton of space on anybody's shelf. I really do love this Goku Black. I think he's an S tier GxMateria figure. Super awesome figure. Definitely recommend picking him up if you like GxMateria. And if you're one of those people that, you know, enjoys Dragon Ball Super, Goku Black is probably the best villain, one of the only villains to come out of Dragon Ball Super. Yamcha, Roga, Fufu Ken. Yamcha is, I don't know if I could call him a beloved character. He's memed a lot, right? But the Wolf Fang Fist, the Roga Fufu Ken, is one of the coolest moves in Dragon Ball. His materia is also very unique, and it has the wolf as his key effect. His likeness is incredible. Now, he doesn't have any shading whatsoever, so the colors are pretty flat, but he is very bright and very expressive in his face. And I remember when I got this figure, I got it as a gift from one of my early Dragon Ball collecting groups. So, yo, if you're out there in the comments, please, give me a shout out down there. Say hello. But definitely a lot of fond memories of this Yamcha. Even though he doesn't have any shading or anything, I think he's an S tier. He has a lot of personality, very unique and such a cool looking pose, and his size is pretty decent for a GxMateria figure. I think he belongs in S tier. Not quite as good as the Goku Black, but still an amazing GxMateria figure. Kid Goku, I believe this is the GxMateria Volume 2 for Goku. Iconic, man. It's when he's doing his fist, the Kamehameha fist. I don't know what to call it. Is it a dragon fist? The dragon fist towards Piccolo Daimao, King Piccolo. Very cool. His face is magnificent. I think this was, for a time, my favorite GxMateria figure. Not anymore, and we'll get to that, but he was, for the longest time, my favorite GxMateria figure. He has the Uzaru as his key effect as well, right under him, and everything about him is just so detailed. I know he's on a stand and everything, but there's almost no way to do this pose specifically without putting him on a stand. He's definitely an S tier figure and the best one that we've talked about so far. Absolutely incredible figure. Highly recommend picking him up. GxMateria Krillin. So I'm a little, I don't know if I'm jaded or just, I don't know what it is. When he came out, I just thought he was kind of whatever. I do think it's cool that he's, I believe it's when he's throwing the disc at Frieza. He even has the scar on his stomach from Frieza's horn. Interesting way for them to put up the Destructo disc, but the figure did seem kind of odd in size and just didn't really have a lot of, pizzazz to it. There's nothing that really made him pop out as opposed to some of the other figures that we've already talked about. His likeness looks pretty good and the sculpt is fine, but I don't know, just nothing really special about this Krillin. I think he's rather average, so I'm pretty comfortable putting him in B tier. Vegeta kind of falls into a similar category. His size is also very awkward. I think him and Krillin are about the same size. We could probably even talk about Gohan in this category too. I believe these three came out back to back. Just Saiyan armored characters, which is kind of cool in concept, but in execution, Vegeta definitely has the coolest materia with his Galakun shooting away from him, and was very expressive, looks just like the moment when he's fighting Goku, but just not enough detail around the figure to really make me warrant him being that special. And Gohan probably is the worst of the three, just because his key materia is just a ball in his hand. That's it. Nothing special about it. They're all like the same size, which is very weird to see. I understand Gohan and Krillin maybe, but Vegeta should have been a little bit bigger than all three. But yeah, there's just nothing really special about these three figures. So I would put Vegeta in front of Krillin and Gohan right behind all of them. Just nothing really great about these three. This is when I started to kind of feel like GxMateria was starting to fall off, I guess. In some ways, but we'll talk about that a bit more. Super Vegito. Super Vegito's awesome, dude. When I started getting back into collecting and decided to give some Crane figures a try, Super Vegito was definitely one that stood out to me as well. I think his likeness is one of the best that Varrock has ever done on any of these figures. He is absolutely incredible. Now, is he as good as maybe some of the S-tier figures? I would say, yeah. I think he's pretty good. Maybe even right here behind Goku Black. He's pretty big because he's standing straight up and floating, actually. He's got his Spirit Sword, which is a really nice touch. I love the bright colors. No shading on this guy. But again, his likeness is fantastic. One of the better Crane figure Vegetos that I've seen. So I think he actually is one of the best GxMateria figures that they've done so far. Kid Buu. Kid Buu, I believe the first Majin Buu GxMateria figure. Kid Buu is the mightiest Majin, the most powerful form of Majin Buu, apparently, according to the narrator and other statements from characters in Dragon Ball Z. So he is pretty iconic, probably the most iconic version of Majin Buu that they've ever done, and is just a pretty sick figure overall. Majin Buu is someone that we don't see very often in the figure world, so I do appreciate Bandai starting to do a little bit more Majin Buu and Majin Buu Saga characters. Kid Buu is definitely a standout in my opinion. I don't think he's quite S tier though. The likeness is incredible, the sculpt is incredible. I believe he is, I think this is the moment when he throws his planet destruction technique towards Goku and Vegeta right before he destroys the Earth. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. The one thing about that, though, is that I believe his GxMateria itself is a recycle of Frieza's, which is kind of lame, but it's still a pretty cool figure, pretty iconic. In fact, I think it's the top of A tier. I think it's better than the former two A tier figures that we have in here. Kid Buu is just super sick. A lot of people have even said in the comments that they think his face looks better than the other Ichiban Kuji Kid Buu figures. I think there's an argument there for sure. Varuk is just fantastic. So I think this is one of the better Majin Buu figures out there. It's pretty affordable. Definitely one of the better GxMateria figures. Piccolo. Piccolo is near and dear to my heart, man. I love Piccolo. I love his techniques. He's so cool. Wonderful design, which is probably why Toriyama kept him around. But this is an iconic moment. It's when he's killing Raditz and Goku at the same time, showing off his Makakon Sapo, the special beam cannon. Now, I think some details about this figure are really good, like the veins on his head, which is a nice touch that's from the manga and anime. His very good likeness. The colors are very bright and they bounce quite a bit off the figure. No shading. Couple things though, I did find that his proportions were rather weird. I think it's his legs. His legs look too short for the rest of his upper body. Plus, his materia itself looks like a penis. It just looks like a dildo or something, which is very weird. I think they should have thought that out a bit more before releasing this figure. And yeah, I just don't think it's their best work. So I think this is going to be our first C tier figure on this. I wish Piccolo had a better GxMateria figure. Hopefully they give him another chance and they do better by him in the future. Android 16. Now this is one that I just recently reviewed. It should be yesterday's video. If not, it should be one of the videos before this one. He was the last one I needed to review before catching up fully with GxMateria reviews. And while I did appreciate quite a bit of the figure, I came back from it a bit disappointed. His likeness, of course, is incredible. I do like some of the details, like the way that Varuk did his face and some of the other details around his likeness. And he doesn't have a base or a stand. He actually comes with a support, which is wonderful. They should do that more often, especially with figures like Raccoon or Nappa, the way that they're, put together. Or even Master Roshi. Master Roshi shouldn't have come with a base. But the issue with that is that the support doesn't really do anything. On some surfaces that I put him on, he balanced perfectly without the support. With the support, he was actually more imbalanced. And then on other surfaces, he couldn't balance with either of those things, which I thought was rather odd. I also felt that the build of his Rocket Punch arm was very finicky, very loose. Didn't really give me a lot of, confidence in it staying on his body. So, he is pretty good. I'm not going to say he's bad. I think he's just a little average. Plus, he's very small. Android 16 needs to stop being put out as a figure and being so small. I do think he's better than the other three just because Android 16 is a more interesting pick compared to Vegeta, Krillin, and Kid Gohan, especially in their Saiyan armor, as we see them in that, quite a lot nowadays in the figure world. So I think he's the top of B tier for now. Moving on, we have Son Goku doing his feat Kamehameha from the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai when he fights Piccolo. Very, very awesome figure. Varuk must love doing Goku flying up or having his hair blown back by attacks, because that's nearly every single Goku figure that he does besides Goku Black. But wow, what an incredible job. His likeness is absolutely perfect. The sculpt itself is awesome. I love the way that they made the Kamehameha coming out of his feet. It's that big funnel effect, and it looks just like the manga and anime. He did a perfect job on this figure. I wish it had some type of shading on it, but man, I gotta say that so far it's probably my second favorite GxMateria, right behind the Kid Goku. Varrock must love doing Goku. I think he actually does love doing Goku figures because he's done so many already, and he does a fantastic job on them. So great job, Varrock. Master Roshi. Now, I love Master Roshi. Definitely love getting some representation from the original Dragon Ball within our figure world, especially in Crane figures. Master Roshi is a fan favorite character, and I do love taking max power Master Roshi when he's firing off the very first Kamehameha we ever see in the series. The effects are borrowed and recycled a bit from Goku and Gohan's Kamehameha from upcoming figures that we'll talk about here. One thing that I did find strange about him is that his arms were very long compared to the rest of his body, so another case of proportions being a little weird. And he just felt very, very plain and very small compared to a lot of these other ones. So I'm not going to say he's bad, but he's a little middling in my opinion. I think he's better than Android 16. That could just be a little bit of my bias towards Master Roshi, and I think that's a fair bias, seeing as he's been a part of the franchise for much longer and way more significant than Android 16. But yeah, he suffers from similar issues of Android 16 and Piccolo, having strange proportions, not a lot of detail in regards to his paint and shading, being stuck to a base so the pegs are on his feet, and yeah, he's a little small. So that's where I'm going to put him here. Another figure that came out a lot smaller and had some painting issues was this 100% max power Frieza when he's throwing the death saucers at Goku during their fight. Really cool details, first and foremost, of having blood all across the figure. His tail is cut off, so he has definitely been through this fight with Goku, but he definitely feels a lot smaller than even the first GxMateria Frieza, whereas if Frieza's going in 100% full power, he should at least be bigger than the regular Final Form Frieza, so a little bit of a miss there. I also found that the purple spots on his body were colored way too dark. If you compare it to the first GxMateria Frieza, his purple spots were a lot brighter and not so navy blue, I guess. They almost come off as blue in his second iteration. So just a couple of issues there. I wish they did a bit better of a job, but I'm also going to put this guy up at the top of B tier. Should have been a lot better, but I don't think the details of the blood and everything on his body are enough to sway me to make him any higher than a B tier figure. If you're going to get a GxMateria figure for Frieza, get the first one. Riku, you do well. Riku with his barfing key attack out of his mouth. I believe it's the eraser gun. Super iconic. I love the fact that this thing's being made. The details of the sculpt of his battle damage. He even has his butt exposed, which is super cool. My biggest issue, I think maybe my only issue with this figure really, is he is so small. Like, again, this is a common trend that we're starting to see with GxMateria, where these figures are shrinking and they're going up in price. And there's less detail than the very first couple of releases too. That's a little I don't know, ridiculous, right? I don't think that's really cool. Otherwise though, he's a very solid release. I like Riku a lot. Very unique pick as well. I'm going to put him right above Frieza in A tier. If he was a little bit bigger, he probably would have been stuck up there in the S tier with the rest of them, but he's not quite there. If he just needed the size, man. But otherwise, really cool figure, really cool concept having the mouth beam. All right, we are down to two more because I have not yet reviewed the Ghost Peen Nappa, and the Android 18 has not been released yet. So let's talk about the GxMateria Goku. So we'll talk about both of these at the same time because there was the very first GxMateria, which was the base form, and Japan had a Japan-only released version of him in Kaioken, which I recently reviewed. I didn't even know the Kaioken existed when GxMateria started because I was there when it first started. Both of these Gokus have a lot of incredible details, great shading. The Kamehameha is awesome. It's an iconic moment when Goku fires the Kamehameha at Frieza during their fight. He goes Kaioken times 20, and it's really cool. Varrock does a spectacular job at sculpting his hair, making it look unique for Goku, but still very recognizable. Goku's face is sculpted to perfection. The battle damage across his body is great, and there's shading on this dang thing. The only reason that I'm going to rank the Kaioken higher than the base form is because it's Kaioken, bro. Kaioken just looks so cool when it's done right on a figure, and they nailed it with these. The Kaioken Goku figure within this collection is one of my favorite Crane figures that I have in my entire collection, bar none. So if you do have the opportunity to get one or the other, I definitely say get the Kaioken. I have seen some people say, wow, it's too expensive on eBay. Maybe I'll look elsewhere. Go to Bashman Collectibles, ask them for the Kaioken Goku GxMateria, use my discount code, and see what kind of price they get you. Hopefully they can get you a cheap version of it. I'm sure they can, because this figure's super awesome. In fact, I'm going to say that it is the best GxMateria figure in this entire list. Spoilers. Kaioken Goku's the best, and his regular form is right behind it. If you can't get the Kaioken, at least get his regular form. It's freaking incredible. And finally, we have Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, or Gohan Youth, from the Cell games, doing the father-son Kamehameha. I believe this was one of the last figures that they did with shading. The way that they colored his hair was very cool as well. His likeness is absolutely incredible. Varuk just nailed it. I like the swirling effects on the front of his Kamehameha as well. And the pose is super dynamic with him lunging forward. One of his arms is down because it's been damaged by Cell. Would have been cool if it had some blood. It's just so awesome. And it also has shading, like I said, on his gi. Just a fantastic job. I absolutely love this dang thing. And it's definitely not the best, but the second best GxMateria figure, right behind the first Goku release. But guys, this is my tier list. We have our S, A, B, and C tiers. No D tier figures so far, in my opinion. That could change this year. We're going to check out the other releases. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Do you think I was fair in my ranking of these figures? How would you rank the GxMateria figures? Which ones do you have on this list? Which ones are you looking forward to getting? And which ones are you looking forward to coming out or think that Bandai should create that they haven't announced yet? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, before we end the video, I do have merch on the channel. So if you guys want to support me a bit further, if you like my videos, maybe you want to rock a t-shirt, a hoodie, a mug, stickers, a tote bag, whatever tickles your fancy. I don't have any materia to give you guys because I'm not a GxMateria figure, but you can at least get a t-shirt or something to wear. Tag me on social media, give me a shout out so that way, you can brighten my day, give me a big smile. But yep, like that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.